At SSAI, we are diving deeper than just the oceans. We are exploring how satellite data from space is helping protect ecosystems across the globe, from shark habitats to your own backyard. Meet our SSAI guest, Brock Blevins, who currently works as a GIS analyst and training coordinator over at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. Let's dive deeper into our conversation as Brock and his team help bridge the gap between complex satellite data and real-world environmental decisions through NASA's ARSET training program. So the very first question I wanted to ask you was, can you please tell the audience about yourself and describe some of the projects you've worked on at SSAI?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I went to school, got my bachelor's in biology. I always had an affinity towards conservation issues, environmental issues. I started working in resource management on some fishing boats, worked at a zoo in Omaha for a while, bounced around a little bit, found myself in Maryland. Now, my first stint with SSAI was as a develop participant. So the develop program, a lot of nodes around different universities and NASA centers, and SSAI was handling it back then. So that was my first time with them back in 13 years ago, I guess. Did 2 terms with them. It was really an eye-opener on how to use satellite data and Earth observations for these means. I was on an ecological forecasting team. I didn't have a lot of experience with remote sensing at all, which is kind of the purpose of the develop program. It's building sort of like a workforce, if you will, and then passing that on to partner organizations. We are working with the Smithsonian Institution and some of their conservation efforts with mangroves. Using satellite data for those means. And I was always into, like I said, conservation. So besides my role at ARSET, which I'll get into, I'm also I've been involved with the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, otherwise known as the IUCN. So the largest international conservation NGO. And in particular, they have an Commission on Ecosystem Management, CEM. And I'm currently serving as the chair for the CEM in North America. So it's just been really nice to stay connected, because I was doing that before I started working with SSAI, and just to remain connected with the international conservation initiatives, but then also start to bring in the spatial data and Earth observations to those ends and how it can aid in those efforts. But yeah, I started working with ARSET, which is a task that's under SSAI right now. Gosh, I've been there about 13 years now, right after develop, and we've really helped the program grow. And we keep hiring more and more people, and we're reaching people all over the world right now in our trainings. And I know there might be some questions on that a little bit later, but some other things that I've done with SSAI. So in 2003, I was invited to be part of the SSAI Leadership Forum. This was a year-long thing that we did. I think there was about 14 other participants across SSAI, different supervisors and managers, and it was great. I mean, they taught us to be self-aware of our personal leadership styles, how to communicate and collaborate, share visions on teams, and to get to a common end. That was a great experience, and I think the shirt I'm wearing right now actually says Leadership Forum on it. And got to know a lot of people within SSAI that I didn't know before, and created some great relationships. Other than that, I did help Eric Hayes some time back on some modules that we uploaded to SSAIU. So it was nice to sort of kind of give some of our training content over to SSAIU for others to enjoy and get used to working with Earth observation data and some of the things that we provide.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic, Brock. I really appreciate you highlighting your background and your experiences. And I can definitely tell that you are extremely passionate about conservation efforts and the environment as well. And I do have a couple of follow-up questions in relation to ARSET. And, for our audience and viewers who are currently listening to this podcast episode right now, we have done some previous podcast episodes in relation to ARSET ARSET, where we featured some other members of our SSAI team. So please definitely click on some links in the YouTube description of this video below. And we also will be providing links for you to check out some of the ARSET trainings as well that are coming up as well, which is super, super exciting. So Brock, like I said, I really appreciate you highlighting your background and experiences. And Brock, my next question I wanted to ask you was, you help bridge the gap, as you mentioned, between complex satellite data and real-world decision-making through training. Can you walk us through a moment when you saw someone's light bulb go off during an ARSET training and what that impact meant for their work in environmental monitoring or natural resources management?
Yeah, sure. So ARSET, we started off doing trainings in health and air quality, but then started broadening our scope with the subject matter expertise that we brought on staff as trainers, who are also researchers within NASA. And we moved into water resources management, ecological conservation, disasters management, wildfires, agriculture, any application that we felt was ready to be presented out to the community at large out there. Anybody who's working in the private sector, NGOs, for-profit, ministries around the world, UN entities. Of course, we have a lot of people from universities taking our trainings, but we really try to target those who could be making policy, who are making decisions in their backyard, so to speak, as far as monitoring their own agricultural productivity or water resources management in their state, in their county. So that really is who we're trying to connect as decision makers. Anybody has to make a decision based on spatial data for societal benefit. The light bulb, there's a couple sides to this. So during every training, we've seen this. So we have a chat section in our trainings as well as a Q&A section. We really try to foster a global community that way. There's countless times in every one of these trainings that, we'll have like 1,000 people on, and just comments in the chats of appreciation, especially internationally, where sometimes these things aren't available as far as open data or no cost trainings, and everything that we put out there is at no cost to the end user. So the countless amount of appreciation but then they'll go on to comment about what they want to use it for. And the light bulb actually is kind of from our side of things as trainers. So we have intended applications that we present for the spatial data that's available, but they get very detailed in their questions, and you can tell that they are somebody who is in charge or is managing land, water, air at a local level in their jurisdiction, wherever it happens to be. And they just start asking questions that, we see and we're like, wow, I never thought about that as an application of this data. So we try to gather that and conduct interviews with them and take those applications that maybe we haven't thought of and really try to push them up the chain to the program managers and those people who are doing the applied research, so they can kind of see what the community is asking for. So actually, it's almost the reverse. The light bulb goes off for us every training, and we're just trying to capture that and kind of reiterate that into the process of the data products that are being produced.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible, Brock. And I just wanted to congratulate you and members of your team just for this engagement that you have created based on each of these ARSET trainings that you have done. It's absolutely incredible. And I think, as you can agree, I think people in these trainings who participate, they get to see the purpose of what is being presented and why it's important and how it relates to their everyday lives. So that's definitely something important that we should be promoting. And I know SSAI is doing that. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think for a previous podcast episode, you've impacted over 140,000 attendees. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, upwards of that as of this year. But yeah, we're on the order of about 15 to 20,000 participants, instances of participation in our trainings a year. And we've hit 190 countries. So it depends on who you ask. We've almost hit all of them. And so, yeah, we get 3,000 new organizations coming to us that hadn't been in our trainings before, about 3,000 per year. So the reach as far as I see it, is endless as potential users. And you don't have to be, that versed in remote sensing, because the tools, we're trying to make those analysis ready. So you don't have to be real into the coding. Maybe you just need to see something that can help you with the decision, a red, green, and gold. Like, significant figures aren't involved here, but I just need to know, do I need to go a little bit this way, a little bit this way in the coming years, on projections on making our agricultural work more profitable and things like that. So we like to think that we're giving tools to entrepreneurs even on how to better serve.
I absolutely love that. Well, for anybody who's listening, who's interested in partnering with, SSAI and, NASA's ARSET program, please definitely reach out so that way you can get more information about our upcoming trainings. We'd love to hear from you, and we're very excited to hear from you as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or for additional partnership opportunities. So that's just incredible. And Brock, I really appreciate you highlighting that and the impact the ARSET training has. Brock, my next question I wanted to ask you was, we're obviously thinking about how every part of our ecosystem is connected, from oceans to the atmosphere. Through your work with NASA's ARSET program, you help communities use satellite data to tackle environmental challenges like air quality, water resources, and even ecosystem health, as you mentioned. Can you share a story where your GIS, or Geographic Information System, and training efforts helped a community better understand and respond to an issue? Maybe even something that ultimately helps protect our oceans or the species that live in them, and how that reflects the kind of impact SSAI aims to make every day.
I'm glad you mentioned ecosystem health. I mean, that's sort of where my heart lies. So I started off in species conservation, but when you kind of think about it, you might as well save the whole basket of the ecosystem, and then you're basically saving everything that's within it, or at least keeping up the health of that ecosystem, which is so important. So yeah, we've had a number of trainings on the ocean side, not as much, mostly on land, but definitely on the coastal areas, water quality issues, sargassum in the Atlantic Ocean, monitor things like that. There has been some projects where we show people how to blend in situ species monitoring, such as like whales and migration patterns. That's sort of a newer thing. So it's been neat to kind of fold that into our trainings. But there was this, like I said, we do interviews with people, and people offer it up to us, or we reach out to them if it sounds interesting. But we did have an environmental engineer. I can't remember exactly which training he took, but he was from the Ministry of Water or Ecological Transition. And I just took a little note here. He said that the locality that he works in is one of the most recognized protected areas in this country. So the use of remote sensing has allowed him to find clearings or changes in land use, so they can sort of manage the deforestation better, or sort of oversee that with inspections and patrols that have been verified where these changes are happening. So illegal clear cutting and things like that. So talking about the ecosystem health, they've been able to use that to produce reports at the ministerial level, and then actions can be taken to sort of counteract anthropogenic activity within protected areas in general. And that's just one example that we get from our interviews, and people just offering up this information like, hey, this is what I'm doing with this. And it's, I love research. The pure research is wonderful, but when someone starts to apply it to something that's actually going to make a difference in conservation or people's health, it's just extra rewarding.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more, Brock. You brought up some excellent points, and I really appreciate you sharing the story about the environmental engineers. So again, with the outreach and the impact that ARSET is currently making, people are very interested in the program. They want to hear more about the trainings and see how it relates to their everyday lives as well. So I know when I was a public school teacher where I taught middle school STEM before coming to SSAI, it definitely warmed my heart, to hear how, a student came up and, said, that was a very good lesson. Like, I was very inspired by that. And, you get touched by those stories and you get motivated to keep going even more. So, and that's clearly what, SSAI is doing. That's clearly what you and your team are doing with ARSET. So again, I just wanted to congratulate you and your team for your outstanding work so far.
Oh yeah, and the team, I know you interviewed Sarah Cutshall and Sean McCartney, two team members that this wouldn't move without individuals like that on our team.
Absolutely. And I'm very glad that you brought up Sarah Cutshall and also Sean McCartney. Again, for those of you audience and viewers who are currently listening, we'll definitely be providing a video link for you to check out those podcast episodes as well. So please make sure that you click down below in the description of this video so that way you can engage with some more highlights about the ARSET program as well and the impact that is being made. Brock, again, I really appreciate you bringing that up. And Brock, my final question I wanted to ask you was, and this is a fun question just as a side note, but the question is, if satellites could talk, what do you think they'd say about the state of our planet? And what message would you hope your trainees would take away from listening in?
Interesting question. What would the satellites say if they could talk? Because they're looking down on us, right? They're observing the entire system, the system of systems, as we say. They would say, you have a beautiful planet here. But so it's interesting when you say what message that we hope our trainees from listening in. And one thing that we try to do, it's listening in, yes, but we really try to draw up actionable objectives that somebody can take away from our training. So after this training, we put it out there. We try to be very specific with our verbs and our intentions here. For example, we gave a training on surface water using the new SWOT mission data. And just we say after this training, you're going to be able to identify ways to assess SWOT data for water resources or disaster management applications. Things like monitoring parameters such as elevation, slope, width, discharge, global river reaches. So we want to give them something that they can do, and then we assess them at the end with a way of showing us that they are able to do that now. Another example is we gave one on sea level change recently, and we would say very specifically at the end of this, we're going to show you how you actually show us how you can demonstrate how to assess and process the processes that contribute to past and sea level change, past and future foreseeable change with this particular Sea Level Explorer toolkit at a global and regional scale. So people can work on coastal planning. Most of the human population live on coasts. So it's just very important that they can sort of see what's contributing to that and how to adapt to that, which is going to be ever more important going forward. But the message that the trainees can take away is that we can do this. The data's there. And we as providers need to increase awareness that it's out there and make it more user-friendly and digestible and operational in the normal workflows of anybody in whatever industry they're working. So working closer with the end users and understanding what they do and how they do it, and then making the data and tools fit that. So no longer, if you build it, they will come. You've got to build it with them. And so working with the end users in the working groups for our data centers and the projects, getting early adopters in on missions really helps us get closer to a more usable product. And then just letting people know about it. And that's kind of what we do at ARSET. Hopefully we hit 200,000, 300,000 in the next couple of years.
Absolutely. Well, I think, Brock, based on the impact that you and your team have made with ARSET, I think you'll definitely hit that 200, 300,000 goal of that impact without a doubt. So, and you brought up an excellent point as well, saying that, we can do this. Is it difficult? Absolutely, depending upon what the topic is. But we just have to, critically think. We have to, examine and analyze, learn from our mistakes, and then we'll be able to, figure something else, something we might not have discovered previously. So that's definitely what's very exciting about STEM and what SSAI is doing and what the ARSET program is currently doing as well. So again, it's just super, super fascinating and super cool, and we're very excited to see that next milestone hit as well in the future. So again, Brock, I really appreciate you talking more about that.